Okay. Welcome to the Yountville Arts Commission meeting. Today is Monday, July 10th. Eddie, will you call roll call, please?
Yes. Member P.J. Hudson?
Here.
Member Resnick?
Here.
Vice Chair Captain?
Here.
Chair Scher?
Here.
Let it be known for the record that members Jim McDonald and Judith Merritt will not be here today, and that member Jeff Lay is coming in late.
Thank you. Would we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Motion to approve. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. The approval of last meeting's minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from last meeting. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. You weren't here. You can't. Well, wait.
So you can vote, Noel, if you watched the meeting. If you did not, then we'll have to carry this over to the next meeting when we have a quorum.
Okay.
So we will go ahead and move this to the next August meeting for approval.
Okay. Thanks, Sam. Okay. Public comment on anything that's not on the agenda?
There are non-electronic ones.
Is there any public comment from our guests this evening? No? Okay, thank you. Town manager introduction.
Okay. Hi, Ned. My first presentation in this room, so hopefully first of many, many. But I am Brad Ralston. I am the new town manager. I'm on my first day of my second week, so part of what I'm doing is obviously meeting the town and specifically going to meet all the boards and commissions. And first of all, I've heard awesome things about the Art Commission or the Arts Commission. I brought something funny to start. I always like to have a little levity, but somebody gave this to me, and I want to kind of tell a little bit of my story. But this is a Liechtenstein that I have outside my office. Eddie asked me for the story, but those that know it, it's funny because it reads, "I don't care, I'd rather sink than call Brad for help." That's what that says. So I just wanted to share that as a funny thing, but also, like, call me for help if there are issues you see, and you're in good hands, of course, with Sam, as your staff lead. But I think it's one of the reasons I was excited about the job was everything that you've accomplished in Yountville, that is the Arts Commission, or just the vibe that the town has. I also wanted to share that this is a little pamphlet from an organization I helped start in my previous city, which is called Arts, A Reason to Survive. So I'll just, here, you pass that around. The story there is in National City is a very, very different community than Yountville. It's sort of a lot of people view it as kind of the gritty portion of San Diego County, but it's just south of downtown San Diego. It's 7 miles from the Tijuana border. It's got a lot of challenges, but one of the things that was sort of this beautiful opportunity was right when I got there, which was 17 years ago, we were finishing this brand new, beautiful 60,000 square foot library. So we had the old library, and the mayor at the time said, "I want the old library to be an arts center." And I was like, okay, a little more detail. That'd be like me saying, well, I want an arts center somewhere. And we ultimately converted the library into what you're seeing before you, which is this nonprofit called A Reason to Survive that came in and, slowly but steadily we transformed the community through art. And it was mainly the kids of National City. We had about 70% renters in National City, so again, very different than Yountville. But I generally believe, like, if you have public art, especially if the kids create it, they own it, and sort of this idea of owning your community, which to me is that pride that you have when you take care of your front yard and you care about, things that, look out of place. And so that's where I think, at least in National City, we were able to achieve a lot, and we were able to do a lot through our public works projects. And, the art here is next level, but I do see opportunities here as I'm being asked to think about things like bike racks, or we talked about the shade structure a little bit, and a lot of other things in the community that may seem basic, but things that with just a little bit of beauty or art can be different, and can also sort of add to the culture of Yountville. So anyway, that's something I'm passionate about. Generally passionate about arts, and I helped found a music festival in San Diego. I pretend to be a musician on the side, and I have a lot of friends in the art world, so I'm looking forward to working with all of you and seeing what we can create, because it's been amazing again to see what you've been able to do with this small town, and it's part of the reason I'm here. So happy to answer any questions, but just thankful to be here.
Is the catalog online?
Yeah. There's a lot. If you go to that website, you'll see we did. There's an artist named Roman DeSalvo that we started a whole bike rack project with, which kind of grew a life of its own, where the kids were designing and we were welding. We did welding. We did a lot of. Since you asked, the interesting thing about the first phase of the Art Center, when I didn't know what to do and I was just looking to have someone in there, we had the Repertory Theater, which was a pretty significant theater company that performed downtown San Diego, but we created it as their rehearsal space. And they did some programming with the kids as a trade-off to us giving them that space, but they created their prop shop. And so when I finally found the Arts, which was in Point Loma at the time, they kind of inherited this woodworking and welding and all the stuff where they would build, the props for the different plays. So we transformed that into the Maker's Workshop, where the kids were able to, again, and that was a game changer, because it as we started to build capital projects, my mind was always kind of like, okay, what can we give the kids? Like, what could the kids build, we got pretty good at it, and you've seen a lot of these lending libraries and all these little things that kids get involved with, and it doesn't have to be kids, right? We're all kids at heart. So I think if there's ways for the community to see that and again, get creative with things that might be as boring as a sewer line or something, it's like, there's always opportunities, especially when you have some funding to work with. But I'm super proud of that, and a few other things that we were able to do. But you can tell I'm kind of passionate about what you all do. So
You said that you pretend to be a musician. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about that, and also about the music festival that you said you started.
Yeah, the music festival is called Wonderfront. And me and two of my, one of my close friends, and then another guy, we started that. I think it was the year before COVID. So if you look at it, it's still happening. There's a question of whether, but it was kind of like Bottle Rock scale. I would say. This past year we had Zach Brown and Kings of Leon, Gwen Stefani. I was, of course, the one that helped get all the permits and entitlements and dealt with all the red tape. But it was on the waterfront in downtown San Diego, so all along where the convention center is. So that was really interesting. I was very involved in the first year, but once the stuff got all approved, then I kind of took a back seat and just got to watch those guys try to make it work. And COVID was, a killer for a lot of that stuff. And then Yeah, I grew up playing the guitar. You know, my mom had a nylon string guitar in her closet, and nobody played it, so I figured it out. And then I got a piano, and actually my first job out of college was up in Lake Tahoe when there used to be Caesars. If you recall, on the South Shore, there used to be a Caesars, and my first job was project manager, building whatever, restaurants, and I redid the penthouse, which was the 17th floor of Caesars Tahoe, and there was this white piano, Yamaha piano, and the liquidator, I had to clear everything out. Liquidator was like going to give me $100 for this piano, and I was like, this is like a $5,000 piano. You got to give me. But end of the story was I told my boss, and he's like, you take the piano, Brad. You've done a good job. And so that's when I started like really figuring out the piano. That was 27, 8 years ago. So I kind of have, and I just moved it to Yountville. The white piano is in the cottage over there. It's been through, and I found this great, I mean, you all may know this guy, Terry, who calls himself the piano doctor out of Napa. He's a wizard. Like, the pianos never sound better because I moved it and he tuned it and like did a whole doctoring of it. And so it's kind of like, for me, giving me a little bit of a renewed interest in playing because it just sounds so good. But yeah, I'm like, you know, I'm not going to headline any shows, but I can.
Well, that was going to be my question.
Well, I have heard, you know, we got to get music more into the Yountville vibe, and I haven't done the art sip stroll. Is that the term?
Maybe we'll book you for that.
Yeah, I could maybe pull that off, but later in the evening where everyone's had their proper classes. But yeah, I mean,
You've just signed up.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was already. Anyway, I don't even want to say where I was recruited to the Rancho de Napa happy hour, where I guess there's a video of me playing the piano for a minute that's floating around. I sent that. But I guess in this small town, you have to be prepared to be on camera at all times.
Right.
So that's fine with me. My wife is from south of Brazil, deep south of Brazil. She can't sing or play music, but she definitely has, you know, just that Brazilian energy and she loves art. We were introduced to Yountville when I was up here actually for her birthday. We came and we stayed here, and we did the French Laundry like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was like we're walking around just going, is this place for real? Like, and then when I saw the job opening, I told her, and she's like, we must go.
I love it.
So here I am. It was fate. As she said, things happen for a reason. So I guess here I am, and at your service. So yeah, hopefully we can come up and unfortunately, because Sam's not in town hall. Like, even though I gotten to know her a little bit before, it's like, and I walk by every day on the way to work and stuff. But we're gonna. I mean, again, my second week, and we're gonna have to. I tried to help her set up the 4th of July event, but she seems like she's got everything pretty wired around here. So I feel like I'm getting in the way. Yeah, so any event, I think we'll definitely have a good, strong working relationship. But I want to be present and available for all of you, too, as you come up with any ideas. So
Nice.
I've worn out my welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Okay, Sam, administrative items. We have a few.
We do have a few. So the first one is consideration of a new program, which is, I kind of grouped it together. So this came up a little bit in our strategic retreat this year. And Judy, it doesn't allow me to put 2 names on the from in the staff report. So this is really Judy and PJ working on this. And in Judy's absence tonight, I know PJ is here to kind of present on this, but with the goal of focusing on community center plaza holiday decor. So I don't know if you want me to go into the staff report, PJ, or if you want to take it from here and kind of describe it.
Yeah, sure.
And I have the photos.
Okay, good. Yeah, if you can pull those up. So Judy and I were brainstorming on some ideas that we could do.
Can you make sure you have your mic?
Sorry,
in? There
here we
you
go. Sorry. Judy and I were brainstorming on ideas that we could do for fall decor in the community center plaza to kind of elevate the setting to be more reflective of Yountville arts, and also an opportunity to get the community at large involved. So one of the ideas that we had was to create a scarecrow making contest that could be brought out to the community and potentially also to local businesses to create scarecrows that can be placed amongst a kind of an autumn vignette. So also hoping, still waiting to know if there's budget from the town, but if so, we would be in contact with, the Pumpkin Patch people, Stanley Ranch, to see about bringing in some hay bales and some large pumpkins and gourds and things to set up little vignettes among the plaza, then where these scarecrows could be placed.
Yeah, so this was Judy put a couple pictures together, so of ideas of how, different ways of making scarecrows. I did not pick that one. So I've talked with Judy and PJ about these ideas, and I think that, we're able to kind of, I don't know why this stays on the screen. There we go. There's a delay. Also, just talking, we're doing a barn dance theme for the bash this year. So, we have budget for different things where we could start collecting hay bales and things that we'll use multiple times. So, if the commission approves this as a Yountville Arts project, we can allocate between this, and then we'll talk a little bit about the December holiday idea as well. I don't have any pictures. See, there it is again. Why does it keep popping up? I don't know. It just wants everyone to see it many times over. We can also talk about that holiday idea as well, that we could allocate $1,000 in our events funding towards these projects. So if Yountville Arts wants to move forward. And that's really just for supplies. So that would not be in, from my understanding, we would put together a program where people in the community, they would have to supply their own supplies to make a scarecrow.
Yes.
And then we would have areas for them to be displayed, whether it's around the community plaza or if we partnered with businesses. And then the same, we would somehow, maybe get a sponsorship prize or something like that and have some sort of community voting, I think is kind of what we discussed. So, so not a lot of cost goes to that, but as far as the vignettes, trying to somehow, have areas where people can take pictures and things like that with hay bales and corns, things that are fall themed in general. So that's the thought process, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also in the staff report is around the Christmas and December holiday decor. I think the idea was to have the same kind of concept, but with trees.
Same kind of concept. So Judy and I met with Whitney from the chamber to discuss kind of a similar project for Christmas, but once again, just kind of to elevate the setting, to have a little more of an artistic flair. And our thought was perhaps to get some of the local businesses and community members involved in maybe sponsoring and decorating individual Christmas trees that could be staggered throughout the plaza, complementing the big town tree that we already do. Whitney was supportive of the idea, but she stressed that the chamber they're pretty tapped out in terms of being able to support the actual efforts beyond publicizing it, but that's fine. So she did provide us with some points of contact so that we could begin reaching out. We were kind of envisioning like a JCB tree, maybe a La Calenda tree. I mean, you can imagine what they could come up with. And so we thought it would be nice publicity for them. And also maybe there could be a kid's tree, or other community members might want to, sponsor a tree.
So I'm in favor of both. I think doing something great with the plaza is super. On the first one, and if we have extra bales and so forth, I would just especially like to see you bring in a lot of bales of hay and especially a lot of pumpkins.
Yeah.
I don't think you could have too many
I
pumpkins.
agree.
And since it's a community involvement, it's hard to know how many people will actually participate with scarecrows, especially the first time out. Regarding the Christmas, I think something, and again, I'm completely positive on this, but businesses will have to assign someone to do a tree. And that's a tough.
It could be
It
a
could
tall
be tough.
order.
So you might want to give that, up to a certain date for them to apply. And if that doesn't fly, go to plan 2.
Yes.
or drop it.
Right.
Whatever. And have something to fall back on for a Christmas theme if the trees don't come in. Just a thought.
Yes.
I think these projects are great as well. I think I was thinking of, like, if I was going to make a scarecrow, I would, obviously Google how to make a scarecrow and then trying to figure out where to get stuffing. And is your plan, I was thinking it would be nice if there were I don't want to buy a whole bale of hay, and I don't have, I'm not going to put it in my car. So is there a way to make it easy for people to have access to the stuff, to the hay? And clothing is easy, but.
So we aren't envisioning that the community members or the people that want to make a scarecrow have to also bring a bale. So we would have all the hay bales and the pumpkins and gourds and things all set up in the plaza,
Right.
kind of
I think what you're
already.
talking about is the stuff to stuff.
Oh, the stuff to-
scarecrow. It generally is straw
see.
and stuff like that. That's what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like a make it, like a how to make a pizza. You go to the pizza place and they have the stuff. So would we have the stuff so that people
No.
could come and make a scarecrow? Okay.
No.
I don't think I have the capacity to do that.
They would do that on their own, but I think that we, have a lot of talented crafters in town, and I think, there always seems to be a call for that. We hear a lot from community members. I feel like when we had the park and rec, what do people want to see in town, and we had the forum at the community center, people have said, we want more things that the community can get involved in. So I think this is something that wouldn't take a lot. People can put together a scarecrow out of, some pretty basic stuff,
Well, it would seem, PJ, that you would at least want to approach a children's group of some kind. I'm sure Sam can help you with that. Maybe Kiwanis. I don't know if Kiwanis would be involved in something like that. And just see what happens. I get your motivation, but I also understand what Cindy's saying. If they don't have any familiarity with how do I get these things,
Well, we thought what we might do is put together, just some guidelines or whatever that when we put this out to the community, here's the ideas and show them the pictures and, and then Judy she said that she will even make one and put one out.
Well, that's a good idea.
So that's what I was thinking, I'm thinking
and maybe
a few
Put
of
it
us.
in the newspaper.
Right, exactly.
and maybe some sources. I mean, Hobby Lobby and
Right.
Michaels, and,
Exactly.
whoever.
Exactly.
Old clothes and some newspaper.
I was just going to say, it doesn't take a lot, right? A broomstick, to start, yeah.
A few of those, don't you?
What is the pumpkin? There was a pumpkin carving contest before.
Yes.
Is that still happening? And how?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't done that in.
How is the participation with that?
It was pretty low. I think the last time we did it was the school was still open, so we had more participation in that respect, but not in recent years. We hadn't haven't done it. We still do a Halloween carnival the Saturday before Halloween, but not pumpkin carving. I think that, impact-wise, I think, putting together a program and some resources and supporting PJ and Judy is not a huge, lift on our part. I'm trying not to overextend ourselves, especially in the holidays. But I think that coming up with those firm standards, like it has to be able to be stand up in the, around the plaza and the planters or sit or whatever. It can come with a chair or something like that. But, just make sure that people understand, kind of what we're working with here. Yeah, and I think if there's a prize, I think there'll be some interest. I mean, I know a few people, I'm sure, who will enter. So, and even if it's only 5 or 6, that's still really great. It's festive.
That's plenty, you know. Yeah.
So, the tree thing, I think maybe a heavier lift just because of the time of year. And trying to engage the businesses, but you don't know until you try.
It could be, and that's what we thought. We just thought, let's try to plant the seeds. Rome wasn't built in a day, but perhaps, this is something that can come together.
What would you do if you're not doing trees, or would you do anything? Have you explored that?
We really were thinking about trees, just trees, but that's something that I think we have a little bit more time to explore and think about another plan if we need to.
You might also consider mini trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably what they would be.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it on.
Thank you, Sam. It was a faint green
Just
light.
here for you.
But you might want to consider different variations of sizes.
That is what we
were.
were thinking, is having, yes, so that it would create some visual interest around the plaza, aside from just the big town tree.
The Symphony League in Napa used to do a festival of trees, and in the beginning they would do it in some fabulous home, and they'd have these trees. They supplied the tree, and that was good because, first of all, they could control the size, but also it took the question of how big a tree would, and I don't know that we would have the budget to do that, but maybe a source again for those trees. I'm sure Amazon probably has a gazillion of them. So are we asking for a vote on this, Sam?
Yeah, so since this is would be if a new program under Yountville Arts, you would need to vote on it. And we just kind of broadly called it, holiday decor of community center. So there's flexibility.
But this wouldn't be a new subcommittee, or would it fall under performing arts? Where is it going to fall?
I don't know if we really discussed that. I don't know if it needs to be a subcommittee, if there's just 2 interested commissioners working on the project. I think I'm okay with that.
And when we approve, are we approving an exploration of this?
You would be approving this concept as a new program to move forward.
If your point was, I think we need some more exploration on feasibility, and I think it's great. I think, and it was something that you've wanted to do in terms of the plaza for some time, and that's super. So how can you dispute the holidays? But I think it does need a little bit more exploration.
And also when I said that, it's just more or less making sure there's a there, just starting the process. I'm all for starting the process, but.
So I think that we've started the process, and this is as far as we've gotten, and I'm not sure if your commissioners or I want to spend a whole much more time moving forward on this if you're not in favor of it being a Yountville Arts project.
Oh, I totally am. I think maybe
So
that's
does
why
that
I wanted
require-
to clarify what I said about
Okay.
exploring, because it seems just because we want to do this and everybody's going to move forward, we need to make sure that.
Yeah, so you would advocate that if you vote yes, you're saying this is you're interested in this being a Yountville Arts project, just like we bring the new literary events or things like that forward. So
I think for myself, I would just like to give you the freedom. If the scarecrow thing is not going anywhere, then you're going to need to pivot into something else, and same with the trees. So planning ahead, so that you have time to do that. Although fall, I mean, bales of hay and pumpkins.
Just around the corner.
I don't, well, and that part I feel like is the easy part, especially because it's tying into what the theme is for the town party. So I think that's the easy part. The fall one, I think, is a slam dunk. I think the Christmas holiday one with the trees is something that's, a little, but, needs a little more exploration. I think the fall thing will be a success out the gate.
Okay, so do I hear a motion?
I motion to approve this concept of using the community center for bigger holiday decor events or scenarios.
I second.
Could I just make one comment? One of the things that, as you explore this, particularly at the Christmas time, one option might be to do wreaths instead of trees the first year, just as an option, be a little less expensive and see what kind of interest there is for it. I don't really care one way or the other. I'm just throwing it out as a possibility.
Good idea. Good suggestion.
It is a good idea. They're easy to handle, and we've got a
Little
lot of
less
windows.
expensive, too.
And,
You,
Yeah.
both, either or.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
I
you.
like it.
So-
Thank you.
Did they vote? Did you take a vote?
No, there's a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And did you say aye?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Great.
Approved. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll keep working through that, and then I think our next step is kind of put together the package that we'll start sending out and marketing
Yes.
to get interest.
And this, I know the community center project, the overhang and so forth. That's going to take a while to work out. So we'll
Yes.
know when that's coming and how we could adjust to that.
The shade structure? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, PJ and Judy, wherever you are. Okay. Sam?
So the next administrative item is the consideration and approval of changing the monthly meeting time to 4 p.m. on the first Monday of each month. So this was discussed prior, and when we updated the bylaws, we left that more of an open-ended Arts Commission approval process. And so those bylaw changes were unanimously approved by the town council at their last meeting. And so now the commission will be able to change the meeting time and date by a vote of the commission whenever you need to. Most likely it'll just be when you have turnover or something, someone has drastic changes. But once we make that change, we'll notify the public via the agenda and probably just a public notice. But that's before you for formal approval. And so if approved tonight, that would start with the August meeting. We would start at 4 o'clock.
Are there any comments from the commissioners?
I can't remember what the motivation was for changing from 5 to 4.
Judy has an early bedtime.
Okay. I forgot that one.
Okay. I move that we change the meeting time starting in August to 4 p.m. on the first Monday of each month.
Is that going to work for you, Jeff? You?
I'll just not work on Mondays. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't most Mondays, so it's not usually. But I thought it was, I can work it out.
Great. Thank you.
I need a second.
Do we have a second? I second.
Second.
it. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Who was the official seconder?
I'm
You moved?
Yeah.
Yes. Cindy moved.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
And then there was a C on there, and for some reason it's not on the printed copy that you have, but the C was just an update on the Yountville Days float idea. And I have another pictures from Judy. So Judy and PJ are also kicking around ideas with me on this. And I think you have Judy's update, and this is Judy's. I love this so much. Her hand-drawn, oh, you can't see it yet. Hold on. Her hand-drawn idea. Which I think is lovely. So
Super cute. So
Can't we get chaos on the back of the truck? Why just the little heart?
One of our probably
You know,
our Vincent
just
Hart.
thinking that it would be nice for Yountville Arts to be represented in the Yountville Day Parade, and Judy does have a white pickup truck that can be used, and Sam has okayed that we can get a magnet for the side that says Yountville Arts, and that we can get the little flare that goes around the trim for the sides. And we were just thinking that we could take the picture frame that Sam had made, and we can zhuzh that up and have that in the back of the truck, and maybe have an art sculpture. We can have the bubble machine. We could have someone as a painter, and maybe, yes, and maybe have people walking, you know, if any of us want to participate, that maybe we could walk along the side and maybe have a picture frame and have our face in the picture frame as though we are a piece of art along with it. So just something cute to be represented. Cindy, I think, has said maybe she'd be willing to drive the truck.
Yes, but you know, I think I might be more effective as the picture frame, getting people to make.
Okay.
I think that the best use of the frame is you know, I've heard that people like to take pictures of themselves these days. And that might be kind of a cool way to, we should probably put Yountville Arts on the frame in some way, and maybe a hashtag, so that we can promote, you know, that person taking a picture of themselves with that and posting or.
So if you give me the dimensions of the frame that you're looking for, we probably have one.
Oh, you're talking about the one we built?
Yes, the one that you
okay.
built, the
It's
big one,
big.
is what we thought we'd have in the back of the truck.
Okay.
And we'd zhuzh it up around the sides, and then someone could be in the back of the truck, you know, dressed as an artiste, as though
Like
they are
painting that
painting
canvas.
something.
Oh, I
Right.
see what you're saying.
Yes.
And I think that the street component would be very
Yes.
fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if people had small
Multiple.
frames that
Yes.
you
Right,
just switch
Small
stuff
frames.
on them.
Yes.
Here, let me
Yeah.
take a picture of you.
Yes.
I think that's cute.
It'd be cute.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to drive because I don't want to be framed for anything.
You can always find a driver too.
So we just thought this would be a fun and low cost, and, you know, it's not like we're building a float or,
Yeah.
you know, having to spend too much time and money, but it would be a nice way and a cute way to represent Yountville Arts in the parade.
So may I ask when the Yountville Days Parade?
Yeah, it's Saturday, Saturday, October 7th. It's a little late this year. It's the first Saturday of October. And the parade, we're still finalizing that. Will most likely start at 11. And if the parade is an hour long, it's a miracle. So it's a fairly short commitment.
Is there a theme, or do we have that yet?
Our theme this year was just decided, and it's celebrating our roots. But as you know, that doesn't have to dictate your entry. But.
Right.
And I think, of course, participation is optional, but I think it's fun just to have Yountville Arts to be you. And there's been years where, you know, we've been in the parade. We had a truck another year, and we had a convertible and walkers, and so I think it's just fun. So, but once I'm going to order the magnet and the decorations, and it sounds like Judy and PJ are going to take the lead on making sure that it gets ready to go, and then
Yes.
we'll confirm where for you to show up.
Yes.
But if you're interested, I think, in carrying a frame, and we can talk about, you know, how to decorate it, and you guys can get together.
It would
and
be
have
really
fun.
nice if you were interested
Yeah.
in doing that.
Yeah. I think we should all wear berets.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh, and mustaches, too.
that would be hilarious. That would be an inside
But
joke.
that's our February stuff. Then people would know who we were in February.
We appreciate everyone's willingness to play along with this idea.
So we're just giving a consent that we like.
We're just updating the idea so that everybody knows kind of what is being discussed, and that, you know, however involved you want to be, I'm sure Judy and PJ will welcome it, and then we'll confirm, you know, time and place if you just want to show up and be a part of it. So.
I I think it's great that you and Judy are doing so much community engagement. These are fun ideas, and so bravo. Thank you.
We're trying.
Okay. The Art Fund, Sam?
Yes, so included in your packet was the Art Fund report ending May. And then at next month's meeting, I'll have the year-end recap, but everything looked quite on track to me. There was no red flags. We definitely will have some money from art sales that we will move into the Town of Yountville Community Foundation at the end when they close the books on the fiscal year. But I just got the June report Friday, so I haven't even looked at it. So next month you'll see that fiscal year-end report, and we'll talk more in detail about transfer. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't think I have any.
Any questions? Any thoughts? No, we're all good. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Sam. The Art Walk Subcommittee. It's been busy this month. First, let's start with the good news. Love Wine sold. So that's...
It's like a happy sad.
Yeah. And Richard will work with us for another piece. So my thought is to just let it sit for a while. We have a lot of other pads that are coming up or are available now. If he calls and says he has a sculpture, we can talk about it more then. Anyway, that's the good news. There's more good news, but in terms of general, the Art Walk map is being updated. Should be ready. Sam, I got the first draft today.
Oh, great.
So it should be ready soon. Let's see. The means of the builder, which I reminded you last month that was going to be installed in July. The artist found out it was going to be $3,000 to ship. And considering that's getting it out here and the logistics of most likely having to come and pick it up or have it shipped back, he said he wouldn't do that. And he couldn't do it. So this is something we're going to discuss further on under the Art Walk subcommittee. That happens a lot. So we'll talk about that later. But at this point, that piece is no longer coming, which is too bad. And then the sculpture lighting update. Judy, you want to talk about that?
I'll talk about it.
PJ. It's okay, I was Robin for how long?
So Judy and I were working with Sam to see if we can procure lighting for some of the key art pads, specifically, I think, right when you come into town, and specifically the ones over in Vanderler Park. It's Polly. And yes. We thought those would be really nice. So, and a few others, and some of the pads are actually on the estate property, but Whitney gave us a contact over there to reach out to, who she said, she's going to try to put us in touch with the right person. So we've got a note to follow up with her. But it seems like, from what Sam has indicated, that this is something that the town is supportive of, and that it isn't something, that is budget prohibitive. So
it could be.
Could be.
So the first goal is to just come up with a list of the ones we would prefer to light, and then take a look at who would be responsible for that, and then look at, have Public Works, if it's on our property and in our purview, evaluate the cost of doing so. So, places where we already have power adjacent, it won't be that difficult. Places that we don't, obviously, that might be a bigger challenge. So, I just, getting that kind of prioritized list of where we want to focus. And, some of them already have lights, and some not on our property, but others has fallen in disrepair. And I think, those to me is like low hanging fruit, like fix it.
Yes.
But, there's challenges of course, that go along with that. So I think we just kind of itemize, figure out which ones we want to focus on, and then chip away at it, and may, come back and have you allocate funding to do so.
So
Absolutely.
do we need, are we okay with Judy and PJ taking this forward? I was wondering if maybe Steve Rogers would consult with them, be an advisor on this.
We asked Steve,
Oh,
and
did you?
he
Okay.
didn't seem like he was that inclined to be concerned, but, I mean, of course, he's welcome to participate in it, and we can ask him again.
Yeah, I mean, he may have interest in helping, look at them, but, I think I'm probably your best bet as far as, especially on the town property, implementing it. So
Great.
working it through our public works channels
Great.
and following that. Yeah, so I know Judy and PJ are interested. I know they're not formally on the Art Walk subcommittee, but I think it's still good work to do. And
So all I would ask is that Cindy and I continue to be informed, just so
Yes.
that we know what's going on.
absolutely.
And especially because I kind of did an analysis of open pads, and between those that are open now and those that we have expired sculptures on, there's 14.
Okay.
So if we're going to light, we want to make sure that we've got a sculpture that's going to be on that pad to come. Right?
Yeah, I think what we would do is, once we have that analysis, come back and say to the whole commission, this is kind of what we're planning on, and then get feedback from there.
Thank you for taking this on. It's been discussed a few times, and it just never has happened. So thank you.
And if you ever notice that, because I don't walk the town at night very frequently, so if you do notice that a sculpture that is on town property and that has lights is not working well or not working, please let me know so that we can address that. So, for example, the sculpture at the corner of Yount and Washington, Ray Cat sculpture, that has uplighting. KS Pamplona, although dim, has lighting. That's intentional because of the hotel. But there are some out there that are on town property and have lighting. So if you notice that something's not working, just let me know.
Judy and I should have more, have our list together probably for the next meeting.
Super.
Okay.
Thanks again. Okay. The only other thing I would add is that I am planning to go to Loveland again this year. It's the second weekend in August. So hopefully we'll bring some sculptures back, at least some possibilities for us. And that leads to the next item, which is the discussion on the shipping, a reimbursement of shipping expenses up to $1,000 for the artists who are basically from out of state. So it would be somewhat discretionary, but every time it comes up, we wouldn't have to vote on it. It's just a matter of how do we feel about the $2,500 stipend and $1,000 in shipping allowance if we need it. So.
I kind of left it open-ended as, and we can revise that. This really was just a example. Was it could be towards shipping, but it could also be towards just transportation costs, because we do have some artists that have driven out from Colorado or Oregon or something like that, which at some point could be cost prohibitive as well. So I tried to kind of leave it a little open for negotiations.
I think it's a great idea because of what you're facing all the time. It keeps coming up, but being discretionary, and when we want to use it, that means across the board we're not enriching the stipend, which I believe that is supposed to go towards some of that, but it is really an issue with how far things have to go and the installation. So I fully support that. I think it's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
Especially now that you're getting ready to go, too.
It will happen. I mean, it will help that. If you recall how many sculptures I had proposed after we got back, or after I got back from the last year's, and one by one, they just couldn't afford to ship. So this would help at least they would have in their minds $3,500 to get
Yeah.
the sculpture out here, and,
It's
some
from
money to come back and get it if they have to.
Yeah. And I think I would probably structure this with pretty firm language that if we added in, and it would be added into their agreement, and so that it can be, if we use this when you negotiate and we're going to utilize it, I would put that language into their agreement, and it could be used up front when it comes, or they could even submit when they have to return it back to them. So it could be on either end, but I would look at it. I would advise to look at it as a reimbursement. So they would submit to us documentation of cost of shipping, or, their map quest, and we would pay them the per diem rate for the travel or something like that. So kind of structure it in a way that it's not just an extra $1,000. So
It makes perfect sense.
Okay.
To do it that way. And like, we can always coordinate whether it seems they're going to need it or not.
Yeah. Yes. And so I did want to just point out, budget-wise, because I always think about the numbers. So we've only budgeted $12,500 for artist stipends out of that designated art fund this year. So with that would have been 5 sculptures at $2,500. So if we do have artists who take advantage of this, that could potentially bring it down to only funding 3 sculptures. But we also have additional funds in that account that we could go back for a budget adjustment for. We can also always tap into the Town of Yountville Community Foundation funds and move money. So there's funding out there. I don't think the additional money should scare us. I think that the 14 open and expired pads scares me. But if we chip away at that, incrementally, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue.
They take so much time to
Yes.
develop. I don't envision 14
Yes.
sculptures hitting us all at once. So
Yeah, exactly.
Samantha, what are the amounts in those other two accounts?
So the fund balance in the Fund 23, so that's your designated art fee fund, has $22,929 in it. That's as of the end of May. And then the Town of Yountville Community Foundation Fund has over 60,000, and I anticipate us probably moving 6,000 to 8,000 into there. So we'll be close to $70,000 in that Town of Yountville Community Foundation Fund once the fiscal year closes out. I'm also working on some analysis at the year end of projects that we have hanging out there where their art fee fund, the 1%, is still in the holding account as a deposit. And then, of course, we know that there are things on the horizon commercially here in Yountville that could then help to increase that fund back from its 22,000 is pretty low for that fund. It's the lowest we've seen over the past few years, but we haven't, through COVID, really had any significant commercial building projects, and I think we're kind of on the cusp of seeing some movement there. So I'm not too worried about us being able to sustain the art fund or the art walk with the funds we have, and even with this additional money.
Thank you.
A small contribution, but significant, is we'll have a couple of $1,000s coming in from Ivan's gallery show.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
then we'll have $3,200 from the sculpture sale.
Yeah.
So that's better than we've done
Absolutely.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rhonda, did you mention this would be for out-of-state only?
Primarily out of state. That's what I envision, Jeffrey, because they're the ones that have the hardship. They either have to bring it out, in which case they want two sculptures, which may or may not be possible, or we may or may not like them.
Right.
Or then they ship it. And when they go to the shipper, artist mentality is everything has to be crated. Well, crating does two things. It's expensive. Wood is very expensive now, and so is the labor to build a crate, and it adds weight, which also costs them. So no matter what I tell them, we don't want to take responsibility for how to ship their pieces, but I've referred them to Jeff at Cartons and Crates. He has a great way of using recyclable products, and he's happy to explain to them or their shipper how this can work. But ultimately, it's really up to them, and they want a crate.
And I think with the approval of the commission that it can be just a tool for negotiating
Yes.
to try to encourage, the high-end art that we really want to continue bringing in.
So at this point, do we make a motion to adopt this?
Yes,
May I make that motion?
absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Any other comments?
I would just like to, well, I think it's primarily useful most for out-of-state. I would not want to limit it to that. If something happened in Southern California, which is almost another state, that's flexible enough that we could use it there as well. And so I wouldn't want to limit it to that, but use it primarily that way. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Perfect, exactly the way it's intended.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you. So, motion on the floor to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried.
Great.
All right. So the next, we have two sculptures. Again, it's that two thing from Ray Katz. Ray did the red and green construction that's in front of Community Center. That sculpture he would have left with us, but he would come out and paint it, because if you've noticed, it's in sore need of being painted. But he wanted another $2,500 stipend and a 2-year contract again. So Cindy and I talked about it, and we decided that we're going to have some other opportunities coming up. So I asked Ray if he had anything else he wanted to show us, and yes, he did. So there's two sculptures for you to look at. He will bring them out. I think is it Michigan or Minnesota?
That's all the same.
Yeah.
One of the M's. I think it's Minnesota.
That's why I can't remember which it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, he will come out. He will need Public Works, and he'll need probably the backhoe.
Okay.
But this one is the first one, combustion. And we thought, well, we love the colors. Sam is comfortable with the fact that it might look tempting for children, especially, to jump on it. So we'll put the usual disclaimers that if anybody reads would scare them to death. But the design, or the place that we think it would look the best, is the middle pad along the vineyards of Villagion.
Add some color.
So add some color, and we haven't had a sculpture there. It also has the lighting potential because the electricity is there. So that's the first one. Any comments?
So then, are we ultimately losing the one at the community center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
At what point?
Well, so Ray is bringing these out. He'll only bring two. So, unless he changes his mind on that, he would come out and pick up the red green construction when he installs Sentinel, which would be the next sculpture for you to approve, if you approve it.
Okay.
Okay?
So we're going to vote on these individually.
Okay.
So this one is combustion.
Yes.
Okay.
I move
its approval.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of approving combustion?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And so then the next one is called Sentinel. And we had a lot of different options for this location. His pieces tend to have a very broad footprint, and we're limited in that community center location because of the lights that are in the concrete, and they span about 50 inches. I looked at it, it looked more like 45 to me, but anyway, it takes something with a base that will fit within that circumference. So Some of them were just too big, some of them we just didn't care for, but Sentinel, we did all agree would be a nice piece. It's a big piece, which I think we need there. So, any questions about this piece?
I didn't quite understand where you're thinking of putting it where?
In front of Community Center.
Okay.
He'll take that one out, take it back, and then
Put this one in its place.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Cindy?
Oh, you want me to, did you move?
No, I'm waiting for you.
Okay, I move that we accept this.
I second it.
This sculpture. Okay.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. So we will have 2 new sculptures coming in from him. Sammy's, around the August 24th is what he was thinking. He
Okay.
has to travel before the weather gets bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll,
when we have that confirmed, we'll just get everything scheduled.
great. Thank you all for a lot of art walk business this time. Okay. Gallery Subcommittee. Madam.
Yeah, where I lost my place. So I just put the schedule down there, and there's a typo that Jim caught, that the Sherry, actually, we misspelled her name too. Okay, so
I
it's
see,
CHAKAMIAN. Art of Elegance, it opens on 8:10 and it actually closes on 9:29.
Yeah.
And that, I think it was an error on the minute, and, we haven't approved the minutes of the previous one.
Yeah.
But it was,
She caught that too. Sherry did. She told me. Yeah.
okay.
Because I had carried
Because
that
it was
date over
incorrect in
onto
our
her.
minutes.
Okay.
So,
So now that Jeff is here, Jeffrey's here at the end of the meeting, we can come back to the minutes if you'd like and make that correction and then vote on them
okay.
because we have a quorum.
Other than that, there's nothing really new to discuss.
Well, you've done a lot of work on that gallery show with Sherry.
Oh, yeah, it's coming.
And did you ever decide on the flyer of those graphics? Is it the first one or the second one?
Yeah, it's the one where she's sitting in front of the painting, not the one where
kind of
she's
a gray.
leaning over
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
When I'm going to finish tomorrow the press release, and with that, I'll attach the correct one.
Okay.
Is it possible we may have both available to us
Oh,
sometimes
absolutely.
for marketing if
Yeah.
we just change
I was going to
image?
make a series of Facebook and Instagram ads as well. I just wanted Sherry to take a look at them. And then once the whole packet is ready, I'll send that to you.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, it's less than a month.
Yes.
Well, about a month for that opening. So we're ready to start pushing it out.
Yeah, as soon as you're ready, or I'll send it back formatted. And my goal is to get the press release out today or tomorrow when I send it to you
Right.
with our letterhead. And then we'll start putting the event date on Facebook. We're working on the, I guess it's our summer newsletter that we're working on. But we'll start doing email blasts and then we'll roll it all out. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And then the following,
She's been wonderful to work with, by the way.
Oh,
She's
good.
very
Yeah, you
prompt.
know-
She sends a lot of stuff, and she's really excited. I spent some time with her, too.
great.
Does she share in social media so she might?
She is showing in another show somewhere, I think in San Francisco, I want to say. She has a pretty good base. So, so when I
wonderful.
told her, I'll send her all the assets as well. So I think she has a pretty good following and kind of email, list and things
Perfect.
like that.
That's wonderful.
A lot of her people are out of town.
Yeah.
Which she openly admitted. So,
Well, maybe they'll drive to Yountville. It's
well,
great.
we gave her the option of a Saturday or a Sunday if it was open, if it was free, and she opted to not. So,
But we can get started on QR codes and the audio, the gallery audio tour, and she can put that out to her people as well, because that's like, being in the gallery without being in the gallery.
And we could do something more with that too. We really haven't, but we could kind of take that to the next level with posting it on the website, with using the
Right.
the links embedded in things, because like we could do more with those audios, I
Right.
guess is what I'm saying. We just
Right.
haven't yet, but I think that's a great evolution of that, because it's such a great tool.
Yeah.
And we know that the statistics are showing that people are utilizing it, and I hear them because my office is right there, and it's really been a great tool.
Yeah.
And I think
very-
it's really important in the press releases. I realize we did not do that, that we should add that just as part of the, even an extra line or two right before we have all the gallery hours and all the contact info, that we should talk about the audio tour or the QR codes and listen to the artist in her own voice describe her work. I think that's so exciting. And also, if we have some major press releases coming out about Yountville arts overall, I think that it's as important as our audio tour. We now have that in gallery. I just don't know of that many places that do it, and I think it's been, as you said, so well received. So let's all
We'll
make
have to figure out
note
a
of that.
decent link, because if you just Googled, like Ivan's, initially, it didn't come up. I mean, you could Google exactly, Ivan inside or outside in audio tour gallery show Yountville, and it wouldn't come up. It would come up with the art walk tour.
Yeah,
And
I
it
was
takes
thinking
a while.
if
I
there-
asked the guy.
Go ahead.
I asked Steve. I think his name's
Yeah.
Steve. Yeah, and it's just part of the Google algorithm, because of something so new that.
But the more places we put it, so like if we were
Yes.
to put it on our webpage and start pushing it on social media, like it'll just start to kind of turn the wheels a little more than just having it be living on the art walk page,
Right.
tour page, I guess.
Right.
And maybe we name it something like In Their Own Words, audio tour, or something more specific, so that people, I'm hoping all of our artists will do that. Maybe they won't, but.
I like the idea too of saying, I think we put in the last press release, is like it's an interactive gallery tour, and you could say in their own, listen to the artist in their own words or something like
Right.
that, where people, know that they're able to do that.
When you take a look at the press releases, make sure the wording, because I think it sounds
No,
great.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was just realizing the one that's going out, maybe we need to
Yeah.
add something.
I do think, so Paul Youngman follows that. They'll probably need a little more assistance with the technology end of things. But I do have images already from them, from Lee and Paul. And then Jim had done a very rough press release already. So, but that'll come quickly. October, it's right around the corner.
And speaking of Jim, Jim, if you're out there, we're missing you. He's going to help. I'm going to be out of town. Jim is going to come in and help Cindy and Sherry hang the gallery, which is great. And then he's also going to continue to work with Lee and Paul Youngman, because they have a good relationship. And he'll also be working on that one, hanging the gallery and so forth with them. So he's
And
still
he
with
has
us.
also offered to continue with our FAM tours.
Oh, that's great.
And
right,
any
right.
other tours, golden ticket tours.
Yeah, he's doing the
he
golden
loves
ticket
touring,
tours,
so he may
We'll
be
keep
leaving.
him. We'll keep him involved.
Yes, we
Right
will.
back in.
He just thought he was leaving.
He's the boots on the ground.
So all three shows that we have
Advisory
coming up
member.
will be in the rec guide. The youth art show, unless you tell me otherwise, I'm just going to proceed how we have in the past as far as the call for entry and all of that, unless there's something you want to change. By the time the rec guide comes out in August, I try to have all of this information on the website current, but I'm happy to send out to you the information we used in the past for the youth art show, so you can take a look at it. To Cindy and
Okay.
Rhonda.
Also, I'm sure you realize Boys and Girls Club would, if you need anything, let me know, but I
Okay.
assume you've already established a relationship with them, but just whatever you need, I'm happy
Yeah.
to just spur her on. So.
Okay, thank you so much.
She doesn't need spurring on. I'm happy to reach out.
Reaching out.
Boys and Girls Club is so positive about getting engaged in our activities. That was a bad choice of words.
That's all.
Anything else?
Nope.
Cindy? Okay. Thank you for all you're doing on that.
I wanted to say though, other than I'm going to update the statistics in the Google Drive, but I believe other than the artist who sold so many things that
Ivan?
Guy Buffet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Other than Guy Buffet, I believe Ivan has sold the most art out of the gallery show that we've ever had. So
silver.
I think that's true, yeah.
yeah, he had a really successful show. So
And largely because of Ivan himself, his
Yeah.
personality. He was there during the whole art sip and stroll. He was great. His mom was there. Mom has the stature of like a Barbara Stanwyck kind of a woman. She's just graceful and beautiful, and she's, I don't know, 94 or something like that.
and as an update, the new lettering is coming for the gallery wall. He actually did end up coming today, but because we had just repainted last week, he has to wait another week because they won't stick. So we're still working on it, and I'm confident that by the next show, we'll have the updated Steve Rogers gallery lettering.
So, okay, by the opening of Sherry's show,
Yeah.
maybe we could do
That'd
kind of
be
a simple dedication as part of that on that evening.
Or it should be earlier. I would think it would be before that, but we can talk about timing. But I think we should do something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. Great. All right, we good?
Yep.
All right. Jeffrey, Literary Subcommittee.
So we have 2 more improv gatherings, July 19th and August 2nd. The play readings will be September 28th. We're doing the Yountville Out Loud, September 14th, here in front of the community center. I have not heard back from Christina about Handwritten Out Loud yet, so they've talked about and thought about doing a second one, but we don't have any specific dates thrown out for that yet. We're proceeding on the bookmark stories. We still have 2 workshops to set up, one in September, one October. We haven't finalized on those dates, but Samantha did put up a way that we can get all of the submissions done on our website, and the $5 charge for that, which was awesome. So that is really going to help in terms of the process of submissions and collecting a small fee for each one. We're also sending out more announcements for the Poetry on the Art Walk, and I'm sending some photographs out. So if these are some of the art pieces that have not had poetry, so that people can do that and know that if they write something, there's not already something there that we wouldn't accept. So
How
we're
are they
doing
being
some.
posted? How is the poetry?
We're just. I'm sending them out by email with the announcement and photos.
No, when people
attached to it.
submit them, it's on the Art Walk audio tour,
I
correct?
put them on the audio.
Oh, so it's not a physical.
No, it's
No,
a.
no,
At one point, we
yeah.
had the poems up there and they were blowing away.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
No,
so
they're
that
on
was a
the-
short-term
they're recorded
project.
and the literary piece is on there too, isn't it, Cindy?
The literary.
I mean, the copy of the poem itself is on there as well as the audio reading of it. I can't remember. It's been a while since I
think
looked. I'll go
If
back
you
and
pull
look
up the
at it.
audio tour
think
on the
so,
website,
yeah.
you can read it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Does that answer your question? 'Cause
Absolutely.
I misheard your question anyway, so
I think that's kind of a cool thing, though, that we don't promote, and maybe we should do a little something on it to highlight it, because it's a great project. I'm just not sure if people know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we should think about that, marketing person, Noelle.
Yeah, no. I was just going to whisper something to Rhonda
So you
about
could
what we discussed.
Prompt me to help with that.
And any ideas would be more than welcome. I'm horrible at marketing. So.
Jeff, I wanted to just call you out on the improv gatherings because I walked through and you have quite a little group going there. I think the first one there were at least 10 people.
I think we had 8.
Okay.
But yeah, and about the same the last one. But we're getting a special guest at the next one. A woman who has done pantomime much of her
nice.
life is going to be here helping us with some pantomime pieces. And I think some others are showing up. So anybody's welcome. You don't have to have been to the first 2 to come to the next 2. So.
But it's definitely people that I don't see often at things that Yountville Arts does. So I think it's reaching a different crowd.
I think it is.
Small but mighty
Yeah.
crowd.
Great.
So,
Yeah,
so
an important crowd.
just to bring up, in order to market it, I need some collateral material and some information.
Yeah.
Great.
We can work on that.
So demanding. No, no.
Yeah. I could make it up.
No, I'll get you some.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey, on the bookmark stories,
Yeah.
tell me again where that fits in on your calendar. Are you?
They will be accepted. Oh, I didn't put that down, did I? They'll be accepted starting September 26th until November 6th. So we have 6 weeks that people will be able to submit them. We're going to do a workshop in September and another one in October where people will come and we'll talk about how to write, 60-word stories. And part of that will come from the experience we had with the matchbook stories, which were 50-word limit. So to have 10 extra words to play with in this case. And so we'll do that one in September, one in October. The decisions, we'll review them in November and announce the 5 winners in December. And we have a request into the Friends of the Library to provide a prize for each of the 5 winners, and we'll print up those, I don't remember how many, 250 or something bookmarks, so they'll be passed out at the library for those 5 winners as well.
It is a great partnership project, too, between the library, and the Friends of the Yountville Library and Yountville Arts. So
right.
It's a great connection there.
Would you mind sending that program? I went back to look for all of these programs, and I guess time has passed, and not because you're not working on them, but just that's one in looking at your calendar that I've neglected.
And I forgot to put it on the calendar, so that was my fault. So you want a copy of the proposal that was approved? Yeah, sure.
As approved, yeah.
But I have to make a note or I'll forget. Something else I was going to say. No, I guess not. So that's in process. Then we have, do you want to deal with this proposal next or?
Sure.
Okay.
It's in our notes. Is there anything, Jeffrey, you'd like to add?
Yes. Because I think I forgot to say that we are doing this in conjunction with the Yountville Library. In fact, it's another proposal to the Friends of the Library that they will buy the books for the students who are going, the 12 people who are up to the 12 people who are going to be signing up for this. The dates there are on the proposal, but we're doing this in conjunction with the Yountville Library, Friends of the Yountville Library again, and we're also submitting this through Parks and Rec, so it'll be in the guide as well as all our publicity. But I wanted to submit it here so that we have some other variety in terms of how we publicize it and who is sponsoring this. So there won't be a very large expense. It'll be basically 7 classes. The last one will probably be in the evening where people will be reading the work that they have been working on the first 6 classes, poetry or prose or prosody or whatever they write. And they'll get feedback each week and conversations around that in the class. And so they can invite people a little bit like handwritten out loud. That we'll probably set it up so where people could come and listen to that. And once we have a date for that, but we don't have a time yet for that. We'll do that in conjunction with the class members. So I think that's all I wanted to add. Any questions?
I love it. I think it's a really fun idea and something a little different than what's been done in the past. I'm excited for it.
Thank you.
Quick question. Are many of these people who are joining, are they locals? Are they Napa Valley? Are they, what are you seeing your demographic coming from?
I think some will be from Yountville itself and some will be from Napa Valley.
That's great.
We've had 3, Mary Ann inadvertently sent out the flyer I was working on that wasn't finished. And so we've already had 3 people who were interested in the class.
I was like, wow, there's question marks on that. I don't know. That was, she jumped the gun.
Rhonda said a comment is this still in process? Progress? Yeah, I didn't have the website. I didn't have, anyway, she gets excited about things, and she is so good at getting stuff out. So we know at least one of those three is from Yountville, and the other two are in Napa Valley. I suspect we won't go beyond Napa Valley.
No, but that's wonderful to go
Yeah.
beyond Yountville also,
Yeah.
just to keep building the reputation of the arts program, or our arts program.
The registration needs to occur, I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually talked to you about this, Samantha, I think. I don't remember all my conversations. I'm sorry. But I think it's going to have to register through the Parks and Recreation in order
Yes.
to limit it to 12 people. And the first 10 days of that registration is open to Yountville residents.
Yeah.
So there'll be a priority for Yountville residents, but then after that, it'll open to anybody in Napa Valley.
So you'll see it marketed in our book twice, part of the golden ticket, but people can also just sign up if they just want that program, and it's being offered for free.
And one other question I had, because it slipped by. I heard you were talking about $5 for registration. Which of
That's
coming up, or has that
is
happened?
the bookmark stories. So we're going to charge $5, partly to just keep people from sending in 100 stories that we don't want
I
to
think
reach.
they have to have buy-in.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
And it'll also help in terms of covering the costs of publishing, which
Absolutely.
if we don't have enough money there, we're asking the Friends of the Yountville Library, or Friends of the Library, to cover the rest of that. But the initial, that will all go to the publishing of the 5 bookmarks.
Well thought out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It sounds like it's going to be a great program.
I hope so.
So
It'll be fun.
marketing-wise, jump-off point is really the rec guide, and from there, I'll work with Jeffrey on little ads and things that we want to push out in different ways. Some of them, like the prosody class that's only for 12, we may not have to push that very far. But I think the bookmark, in collaboration with the other two entities, is going to be a great little push. So.
The collection of them, Jeffrey, is really, they're all unique, they're all different. There's something that we've never done before.
Yeah.
So thank
Creative.
you for
I would
bringing
like
this
to
to
move
us.
that we approve the new literary program, Writing Celebration.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
You might have to quit
Thank
your
you.
day job.
He's very busy.
Very busy.
He's doing a lot of things.
Okay. Yes.
I guess
Noelle.
I'm up next with PR and marketing. Some of you may know some of this because I was very excited about some of the things and sent it out to you already. But I sent you links and things like that. But for the record, Napa Valley Life did a wonderful article on Ivan McLean. We were
Seen the paper copies? It's really,
It's just magnificent. Rhonda has the paper copy. You know, the hard copies are nice to really take
They
a
are.
look
Yeah,
at.
that's really awesome.
I just 2-page spread.
Beautiful.
They were so excited about it, and the young woman who wrote the article was going to be coming on a FAM tour, and for some reason, I'm not sure exactly what happened. It got moved or canceled, but she was unable to make it. But I was really excited about that because I thought that would be a wonderful opportunity to not only take her on an art walk tour, but to take her to the gallery. But regardless, it's very important that Ivan is getting out there with his work, and he's just so likable in addition to being so talented. Speaking of FAM tours, we have potentially a huge FAM tour coming on October 21st through Fuller and Sanders, and with 50 people from International Public Relations Global Network. David Landis was here. I gave him a tour a while ago. I can't remember the date, but he loved the tour so much. He loved the art walk so much that he's part of a huge PR firm. He's now retired, but his PR firm is still in existence. But he, with his group, wanted to come back and tour all of them. So we realized that could be a little difficult, 50 people.
people's a lot.
And we discussed it. Fuller and Sanders talked with them, and agreed that maybe what we will do is greet them. We'll hand out art walk maps, and they'll be free to tour on their own, and also some introductory remarks and what they shouldn't miss.
Cindy and Jim did 45, and we split them into 2 groups.
Yeah.
It worked okay.
So we'll see what they want, because this didn't come from us. We were ready to take them on.
Yeah.
We said, "Oh yeah, sure," and then we went, "Oh my goodness, what are we going to do?" And then we figured we would solve that.
It's not as great as probably having 10 or 12, but
Maybe we could ask them for a writer's choice, just to get them engaged and get them out there.
So we'll see what
Something like
happens,
that.
because they came back to me, or Tom came back to me to say that maybe they will just take the maps and then tour on their own. So we'll continue to see what might work well for them, but we certainly encourage them to take tours. So we'll see what happens with that, but it's on the calendar.
Entertain them by playing Art Walk Family Feud.
yeah.
With the group that big.
Put Robin and Cindy on the corner.
Yeah, put us on the corner with a buzzer and the bubble machine,
There you
and
go.
Answer a couple questions.
Absolutely. Then also with Napa Valley Life, they have space reserved in the food and wine issue that's coming up next, and they're going to have a recap of Art Sip and Stroll, and I'm assuming they're going to share a lot. They asked for 8 to 10 photos.
Wow.
And they received 8 to 10 photos, covering everything, covering music, covering wine, most importantly, covering the art, and certainly just people strolling through town. So that will be coming up next, which I'm excited about. And I gave an Art Walk map presentation at the Chamber board meeting, because one of the things the Chamber the board often talks about, and our businesses talk about, is we have food, we have wine. There's a bit of a lack of retail within our community right now. Hopefully that will change, but they need to have other things to share. And so that, to me, was a perfect opportunity to just reinforce one more time about the Art Walk. And they were so impressed with the new maps. They really loved them, and I let them know that they could have them for their businesses, for their hotels, and that everyone was available should they need anything. So that was, for me, that was a very positive aspect of sharing it with them. And then we're continuing to get a lot of good support right now for Ivan's show again in Canvas, and also in the Chamber newsletter. So that's it for now.
And you've been gone for a month.
We get emails even when we're away.
Thanks.
That's fine.
Thanks, Noel.
My pleasure.
PJ, Performing Arts?
Yeah. Some good things to report. The summer concert series, we had our first official one that took place June 25th with Chance McCauley and the High Road was a band that performed. Was fun for me. That was my first time getting the opportunity to MC and welcome everyone and introduce the band and thank our sponsors and stuff. That was a lot of fun. The band was super happy to be there. It definitely showed. They had their whole family sitting in the front there supporting them. They were great. They shared a lot of heartfelt stories about their songs and their family and things. So they really mingled and did, just a really nice job working with the crowd. They're definitely someone I think we'd want to work with again. I will say it was windy that day, and some of the sound kind of blew back away from the crowd. They were just a 3-piece act, and so it would be my suggestion, Sam, that maybe we move that easy up canopy a little closer. We do want space for people to dance and everything, but I think the space that we've allotted is maybe more than what we really need, and it would benefit us, especially with some of the smaller acts, to move that forward. So I think our next one that's coming up on Sunday is another 3-piece. So I can be there to MC that one as well. But I would say let's move that easy up forward. Okay, good. Let's see. I think that's really it as far as the summer concert update. Then also with regard to the Legacy Roundtable, let me go back to my notes from Judy. Our last Legacy Roundtable, that was a big success. We did have one of our winemakers did not show, Spencer, so that was a disappointment, but we were able to, let me pull up my notes, where's my...
We recruited
was
Doug
Doug
Hill
Hill.
that showed up.
Yes, we had Doug Hill. He was a speaker at one of the last ones, and he had such a good time that he actually bought a ticket to attend. So,
Which we promptly refunded for him and
Yes.
his guest.
so he was just a doll and agreed to step up, and it was just, he bailed us out of a pinch. So everything went off. Other than that, without a hitch. It was a sold out group. We changed up the lighting a little bit, to make a little more mood lighting. We had some background music when people came in. We poured everybody a splash of Chardonnay as they walked in the door. So we really tried to create a little bit more of like a cocktail party type atmosphere while people were mingling and whatnot as they first came in. And then everyone sat at the tables, they had their cheese plate, and then everything just went off without a hitch. It was really, really nice. We did find out that the supplier of our cheese plates is no longer, so we need to come up with a new idea in terms of that. We're throwing around some different ideas, but I tend to think maybe the best idea, Sam, I think you said, would be just to have like a big board on a table with some plates. People can load up on a plate before they sit down, and we can make sure to usher everyone to do that, prior to sitting down. So I think that might be the most feasible, the best thing to do.
It's also a good idea because you're not reliant on exact head count then.
Right.
I know you were really ordering.
Had some
per
issues with
chicken
that,
sales.
yeah.
Yeah.
We can do that internally, so it's not a huge issue. Yeah.
I think it's better than having, it's a nice idea to have a cheese plate on each table, but when it gets to be a 10-foot table and there's wine and there's glasses and everything else, it's just, I see it sitting there. I don't see anybody.
And that's kind of what I thought too. If we had something in the middle, even if it were on a Lazy Susan or something, I thought people are going to be reaching and then we're knocking things over. And it's just, I like the idea of just maybe having a big board on a table in the front. I think is a
Or
good
right
idea.
in the middle.
Yeah.
We could put it right in the middle.
So the next one, we are set up and is restaurateurs, and we've got a few already lined up. It's October 26th, focusing on the old restaurant scene in Yountville and Napa and how it's grown. Judy already has Kate O'Reilly and working on Bob Hurley. Rhonda is going to be contacting Jeffrey Jake and his mother for some old photos. I don't know if anyone else has any ideas in terms of things that we can highlight and use to kind of zhuzh up that whole decor and the whole.
Have you tried Philippe Gentil?
No.
I left a message before I rotated off
did you?
with his staff member, and he was going to pass it along, and I've not heard a word from him. He's a pretty reserved
He
guy.
is.
I'm guessing he won't, but I've made an initial contact for
good.
that.
His daughter Camille is very vibrant.
His daughter's
She's no longer
in the
there.
restaurant.
Oh,
No, I know.
I don't know who is, maybe you guys do. I don't know who's chefing there. I doubt it's Philippe. He's living in
No, it's not him.
Palm Beach. But I talked to him quite a bit for the Schmidt legacy, and he was very engaging. And he did offer to meet with me when he was here. He just
Right.
wasn't here in a timely manner. So,
And he's not usually here on a Thursday evening.
yeah.
It's usually a Sunday.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah.
And Judy's also still trying to make contact with Cindy Paulson, sorry. And so still working on that, but a few other names and ideas are still being tossed around. So I think that there's enough time for that to come together. So we will need to provide the wine for this event, but
We're in a new fiscal year, that's fine.
okay.
There should be some funds from
Yeah.
what we gathered, too.
Yeah, we
for that.
budgeted for that expense, but we haven't had to use
Okay.
it. But we're in a new fiscal year, so we're fine.
And so I've kind of rotated in to help to support Judy with this event because Jeffrey, clearly he has his hands full. So, anyway, so that's why I'm kind of just going over these notes that Judy sent me.
Yeah, so once it's all nailed down, we'll just do our marketing bit. I think this one, I say that about all of them, but I think the restaurant thing, I think will be really interesting to a lot of people, so.
I think it will be too, yeah.
And there's a bit of a history about that now that people are excited about. I think that also helps in continuing it.
Okay, thanks, PJ. Thanks for all the work. Mustard celebration, the beat goes on. They're meeting tonight. I didn't go. But I am working on the next gallery show. And by the August meeting, I hope to have an outline of what we're going to do.
How exciting.
Yeah, I think it'll
can't
be
wait.
a good one. Yeah.
I met with Whitney about holidays in Yountville, but we also discussed the mustard celebration. So I know they're looking forward to doing an event again, but, supporting us in whatever we're doing.
I hope they'll do it in February because I think I saw in the Mustard Festival minutes or celebration minutes, she's going for March.
I think it might have been.
And we were trying to keep all of the events in February. So
She's not aware of that. I'll talk with her. I'm not
ask
sure
her.
what the
I
date
sent
is.
her an email mentioning that kind of in passing,
Okay.
and I didn't hear anything back. But
Well, it's the Valentine's Day heart thing that,
Yeah.
I mean, that was another home run, really.
Seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
They want us to do more of those things. And I was like,
Is that going to happen again? Are the hearts
I
going
was
to
like,
happen
that was
again?
kind of, we had an artist and we were just discussing that specifically because we do like the fun things that are kind of more kid oriented, like the turkey hunt or the snowman hunt. But they really liked kind of the elevated hunt of the glass artistic heart. So, and their marketing people loved that. Is what she said. It was really something fun to run with.
Because
So,
it was such a success.
Yeah.
It was a win-win for everybody.
yeah, they wanted new and exciting things around the holidays, and I was like, I'm not sure we can pull off a highly and elevated hunt during the holidays. So
And St. Helena says they're the heart of Yountville, but we
No.
have the evidence.
we've trademarked that term. So
200 pieces of evidence.
yeah, it's trademarked. See the TM up there?
I love it.
Legitimately trademarked. Yeah.
So we decided, Jeffrey, in answer to your question, we decided Saturdays in February for the distribution of the hearts instead of every Saturday and Sunday for, 8 weeks? So we'll take volunteers on who wants to scatter the hearts or draw straws or something, but
I volunteer Cindy.
Okay.
With her.
Who, me?
But only
No.
with disguises.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
Y'all probably
we're
do.
halfway there.
Yeah, I'll do it. Absolutely.
Partner up.
We're
I
there.
had fun out in the dark of night.
That was fun.
It was raining on my day.
It was raining on my
But the
weekend.
nice thing was that no one, people were finding them a couple days later from my day because there weren't as many people out, which was interesting. So
That's fun. Well, we're definitely going to do that again. Yes. So. Art Sip and Stroll, Sam, do we have anything?
the subcommittee just met and did a quick recap, but nothing groundbreaking. We may be looking at kind of some different layouts, trying to get everybody in the same general area next year, but we haven't firmed anything up on that yet. That's it for that.
Are there any staff informational reports?
The only other thing, and I did put it in the email, that Jim will be acknowledged at the council meeting next Tuesday, right at the start at 3:00. So if you're able to join us, that's always lovely. He'll be thanked for his time on the commission and all of his work. So
Will he be getting a proclamation?
they give him a certificate and the etched bottle of wine.
I got it.
Yeah, but the mayor they talk about him and he stands and speaks. So if you're interested in being here, we obviously would welcome you to do that.
Great. Absolutely. Well,
And then we have also on that agenda is the reappointment of commissioners and appointment of a new commissioner, which of course until the council formally approves that, I cannot make that announcement, but I think we'll be in very good shape. And I just want to appreciate and thank those of you who are returning to the commission that we really appreciate. I appreciate the consistency and the work that you do, and then I'm very excited for some new interest. So that'll also be on that agenda on the consent.
And that's on the 18th?
Yes, Tuesday the 18th at 3 o'clock.
So both of those will be coming up pretty early in the
yes.
meeting. Thank you, Eddie. And for the commissioner comments, I would like to say, really echoing what Sam said, I am so excited to have Cindy reapply and Judy reapply and to be ready to welcome Marita. Again, it's not final until the 18th, so I think it would be great if the commissioners were at the meeting to support both Jim and the newly appointed commissioners on the 18th, Tuesday, the 18th, at 3 o'clock.
It's hard to believe the 18th is here already of this month.
Yeah.
I was thinking that's in a couple of weeks. It's next week.
I know. Okay. Any other comments from the commissioners? No, I lastly, in closing the meeting, you guys are awesome. I wish our town manager had stayed and heard. I mean, you're all so professional. Look at what we're doing. And it's all because you are all so active. So thank you all for all the work you do.
Absolutely. You're doing some amazing work.
Amazing.
Thanks for your leadership too, Rhonda.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Wait, do we have a vice chair? Are you vice chair?
Yes.
Okay. Your leadership, Rhonda and Cindy.
I move
Well
to
said.
adjourn.
I'll second that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.